Okay, so thank you so much for being present in the miracle sessions. Everything looks the same, it just looks like that, but it isn't. It is a brand new moment in time in which we come together, and whatever happened before is over, so we will not bring that in again. And so that's not necessary. So in this moment, we have the opportunity to connect with one another on a whole different level, on a whole different place inside ourselves. And so let yourself be lifted by what you hear, because there's no need to do anything else. So I'll go into that, even in that lifting up process, and I'll go today also into how do I look at myself, what is it, how do I define myself, because it is so great to come to a different vision of yourself and of everything that's occurring. That is really helpful in the awakening of the dream that you find yourself in. And it saves you a lot of work too. Some things you don't have to do, or you don't have to understand. Or some things you recognize immediately when it's being shared. So you actually heard then what I'm saying, and that saves you time. So that's incredible. And for me too. So this is all a win-win situation where we find ourselves in coming together in this place where we actually come for healing, for to experience that there's no separation, to see that there's a greater power in which we are completely embedded, and in which we can connect with. If we think we're separate, we can connect with it to see that we're already a part of it. So a lot of the things that we do in this, in this awakening procedure, is that we do things just for ourselves to be confirmed in that is true for us, for you, for me. You know, that it is for me. Like I have to say thank you in order to see that everything is given me. I have to come into a sense of gratitude to see that everything is given me. And that has a certain reason too, and I'll go into the physics of that too, because I brought a couple of things with me today. One of them is the Ur text, chapter 17, and the other one is a book that I pulled out of the bookshelf, from the bookshelf. It's not a new book, but it's very helpful because it gives you a summary of say quantum physics idea of your body, and that's this book, like breaking the habit of being yourself. All right, so by Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza, a chiropractor. He knows a lot about neuroscience. He shares a lot about it, and I love to use his teaching, to use his science, so to speak, to support the idea of how you can look at yourself. So that has to do with the quantum healing that we get ourselves into. The thing of today is then chapter 17, part of it. It is this little part, fantasy and distorted perception, that is really interesting to me, from chapter 17, forgiveness and healing. So we go into that in a minute. But first of all, I want to make sure that we find ourselves right now in a good place. And that is, don't forget to breathe. Don't forget to relax. This is your day. How do you want that day to be? Like you want to have a happy day? Well, this is your chance, because nothing is determined yet. So by sitting back, by relaxing into that, by coming into a receptive mode, literally to come to receive what is given in this present moment, is going to help you to see that it's unbelievable, but you are connected to every aspect of creation. And that is coming to your awareness in this process. Isn't that great? What an opportunity. So that's why I love to extend this. That's why I want to immerse myself all the time in it and read books about it, listen to to say conversations about it or teaching about it. And just because by immersing myself, something happens to me. Like I really get happy from listening to it. I really feel like for no reason, suddenly I'm like, oh my God, I'm really uplifted by what I'm hearing. So that is so welcome, because when I come into this upliftment, if you want, and I start to read, oh my God, everything sounds so different. Do you recognize that too? It's like, do you recognize that? Because it's like you suddenly you're opening up to receive a greater good for yourself, and you enter into a place where you actually can hear that, where you feel like fed by it. Because sometimes you just need one word or you need one sentence to feed you, so to speak. And it's like, oh, thank you. I really love to hear that right now. I love to come into that at this point. So that's the same, of course, with the meditations that we do, with the quiet time that we do, that we practice, just to do nothing else but go within. To see that, yes, there is where my salvation will come from. That's where my information will come from. That's where my guidance will come from. So in this process that we are from coming really into the awareness of the connectedness of everything, the perfect synchronicity of all, is then really like going within, allowing that to occur. See, and the beautiful thing about closing your eyes is that suddenly the perception, your perception, like your visual perception, stops for a moment. And it is so distracted by everything. And that everything that I see is also determining how I'm experiencing myself. So there's an interaction going on. And the interaction is one way, actually. It's coming from you. You are tempted to look at things. You're tempted to see things in a certain way. And in the meantime, it is actually confirming to you your ideas about yourself. So that your ideas, the ideas that you have about yourself, become that what you are. So this is really good to realize and to hear well. So are you with me on that? Are you listening? Are you here? Are you actually present here with me and listening to this, like this brand new thing that is going to be given to you? And I don't know what that's going to be, but we're going to receive that together in the present moment, in this moment that has nothing to do with the past or the future. See, and that place is where the upliftment is. That's what upliftment is, entering into the place of timelessness, of infinite possibilities of what can occur, and seeing that if you're completely open, it will be given to you what is occurring, and you are fully aware of that. You're fully part of that, and that has great impact in your process of, say, seeing yourself in a different way. Like literally, like the book titled Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, like stopping with defining yourself as this limited entity, whether it's limited in finances, in relationship, or in physicality. It is all not what you are. Like any description or definition of yourself is not what you are. And you know this. So it's like you know it, but you still live with it. You keep repeating it. You keep bringing it back into this moment. And that you can change that. You can break that habit of doing that. See, and then in this little book it says like you actually do it this way. Is like you keep repeating those ideas about yourself and actually become physically that. So it's like you're actually forming yourself into this physical memory package that will tell you nothing else than that you live in a timeline, that you're getting older, that you're limited in the way that you can do things, that you're like not as perfect as you want it to be. It's like it always looks like a failure continuously. So anything that's related to that. But here's the thing. So first you think those ideas, you start to repeat them, and then suddenly your physicality is literally picking that up in terms of holding that information for you. So, and then it turns around and the body's telling you things while it's not able to do that at all, but it's coming back to you, in which you actually start to receive information from your body confirming to you that there's such thing as limitation and sickness and calcification or whatever it is, or retardation, or you name it, all the varieties. So this is good to realize that that process can be broken, that can be undone. So it is not that you're tied to it forever. That's the great thing. So, and like I said, what helps is then to meditate. What helps is to allow, and I can bring this in with this book too. It's like I will hold this book for a moment longer. So this book tells you also about the fact that when you don't know things, when you don't keep running the same pattern all the time, but break from that, suddenly something happens too in your, here it's always called brain in this book, like your brain is making new neuropaths so that you learn to be open and learn to receive new information and learn to discover new things and creating new abilities for yourself in that. So that when you keep your mind open to receive something new, you will feel that it's also like really like an incentive for yourself to become alert and to become really present. So this is a nice way to start your day, for instance. Like, I have no idea what's today is going to happen. I would love to have a happy day, and I don't know how to achieve that. But I would love to receive all the guidance that I can get to do that. And I will return back to this place during the day if I feel that I'm sliding off into a limited perspective of myself. So I start all over again. That is then again the Course in Miracles, like rules for decision and rules for how to spend your day. So in the book of Joe Dispenza, it's being said like breaking these habits is just by giving yourself new material to immerse yourself in, like what we do in meditation. We bring one line, love, which created me is what I am, for instance. Love, which created me is what I am. That is going to be revealed to you what that means, and that is going to help you further. That is suddenly is like, yes, I want to come into the practice of opening myself up to that all the time, and making that connection and letting myself be lifted, and do that exercise again. Not when I feel uplifted to sit back and be distracted, no. But then pick up the book and start to read, for instance, and dive even deeper into it. So then you see that steady, but certainly things are starting to change, and you actually feel really good about what is happening. You feel that it works much better than you expected. And so any definition that you keep holding on to for yourself and repeating to yourself that it's not working, that you're limited, that you're tired, and that you're this and that, all of this, you wanna let go of those ideas so that you can be new. You allow yourself to be new, and feel the energy of that, and keep repeating, say that to yourself. Discovering the new energy that comes to you, and seeing that it actually works really fast and really well. So these meditations that are that we do, that we have a possibility of doing, or listening to the tapes of Joel, of Master Teacher, of A Course in Miracles, of whatever you can see, it's like that is really helpful, because all the time you open up to the unknown, so to speak, and by you being open to that, it can be given to you, because hey, you don't let yourself be distracted by anything else. And if it does happen that you slide off, or that you're distracted by something, you come quicker to the place where you actually start to remember, oh, I don't need to do this. Wait a minute, I can pick this up and go from here again. I can start my day over again. So that's really wonderful. All right, so like I said, I wanted to bring some of the Course in Miracles in chapter 17, forgiveness and healing. And then it starts off immediately with, say this in section B, fantasy and distorted perception. Because basically that's what we're talking about, you know. It's like the way that you think about yourself or the way that you define yourself is a fantasy. It holds no reality. It has nothing to do with the truth of who you are. So there's also no, there cannot be any repair of that. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no repair of that, because it is a fantasy. So the only thing you can do with it is waking up out of it. That's why we say this is a path of awakening, like, because it is way beyond repair, this dream that you're in. You tried to fix it and it did not work. So that's a closed chapter in that sense. But that goes further than you think. So that is a real total idea. Like it's either one or the other. You're still fixing your dream, or you're waking up out of it. Okay, here we go. So 17b. Fantasy and distorted perception. When you maintain that there must be order of difficulty in miracles, all you mean is that there are some things you would withhold from truth. You believe that truth cannot deal with them only because you would keep them from truth. Very simply, your lack of faith in the power that heals all pain arises from your wish to retain some aspects of reality for fantasy. If you but realize what this must do to your appreciation of the whole, what you reserve unto yourself, you take away from him who would release you. Unless you give it back, it is inevitable that your perspective on reality be warped and uncorrected. So that's quite a paragraph, right? When you maintain that there must be order of difficulty in miracles, all you mean is that there are some things you would withhold from truth. So in this is an idea that goes beyond your reach. It's like, oh my God, it goes so far. Like, as a human being, you say, like, yes, of course I think that one thing is harder to heal than another thing. Look at my history, and you will prove it to me. See, and this is exactly what I meant in the beginning too. It's like, you cannot keep holding your past to prove that it is not working. So you cannot do that. You cannot prove that to yourself anymore, that the past will prove that it didn't work. It only proves it in your own fantasy of yourself. So be happy to hear this in that sense. So to not perceive differences like order of difficulty in miracles is quite something, because see, you have for every aspect of sickness, of illness, you have already like a scenario ready. It's like, oh my God, that is, oh, I hope I don't get that, or whatever it is, whatever your response is. Like you have valued some much more than others, or you have your own, like I said, your own scenarios ready. Like if I get that, then this and this happens, or if I could get that, then that and that will happen. And you roll out your whole scenario in front of you. So we, in our human minds, we have an investment in that. Apparently, look around you and see how like incredible development has taken place in that too. Like look at the hospitals, all the health sites, all the health clinics, and all this stuff, very specific stuff, like, you know, like, and some get more money than others because it's much more important than others. Like, well, to see that there's no order of difficulty in miracles in healing from all of this is not what you see immediately. So it takes some time to see it, that is true. So in the meantime, if you don't see it as in its totality, but you see only part of it, you still believe that your fantasy is true, and you get the result of that because it defines you in who you think that you are. See, I think that needs to, yeah, that's a bit of the bottom line of this class. Is like any idea that you hold on to or think is still there and has value to you is defining you, is literally telling you what you are, and that is, and you get the result of that. So you know this. It's not a mystery. Like it's not a secret, but you're not aware of it all the time. So this is the thing then, like, be careful with how you define yourself, you know, and don't define yourself at all. Like what is true about you doesn't need to be defined at all. That is the great thing. So let that truth be revealed to you. Let the truth of who you are be revealed to you. And you see that there is no order of difficulty in miracles. See, but only in that place is where you can meet that, where you can come in contact with that. So that means all the other parts need to be, say, undone, need to be let go of, need to be like, well, that's not it. No, that is not who I am. No, that is not who you are. No, that is not who you are. No, that's not what I understand about that. Like, no, I have no idea how to look at myself. I have no idea how to look at myself. I don't want to define myself. I will not be able to do that without, you know, I want a different experience of myself, yes. So that can be given to me. So that's pretty awesome. So, and like I said, the other book is helping us also to see that, like the whole idea of a physical body with a solid physical body that can make noise and that is stamping its feet on the floor or screaming out with a voice or doing whatever it does, is one way of looking at yourself. By thinking that is you define yourself to this limited perspective of yourself. So here comes physics. Here come physics experiments, you know. Suddenly they see, like, no, atoms, molecules, you're built up basically almost all of space, and there might be some particles, but there's nothing solid about you. So it's a whole different spiel. We can't see it with our eyes, but it doesn't mean that it is that we are solid as we think. No, not at all. So you come into the sphere of molecules, but going even deeper into that, you see that you are energy. It's like there's no particle at all. It's like, no, it's popping in and out of existence. It is totally different than what we thought. But we are so trained, well trained, to see each other as separate identities in physical bodies in a material world, that we really believe that that is so. And say, letting that define us, because we think that, yeah, that we can do that, like that's helpful to us. And letting that idea go could be fearful, or however that is for you. So this is the maze in which you get stuck, because you cannot get yourself out of your physicality if you still believe that you're this body. So and not being a body, what then? What am I supposed to be then? What am I? So you start to look at, how is this working for me? What am I doing here? So there's some light coming into this place. All right. So that's the great thing about having the possibility of looking at all these things now in a new way. And so the book that I use is from 2012. It's not really new, but it brings everything right in perspective, and it gives some exercises in how you can experience yourself in a different way. So I'm not promoting that book at all, but it is just that I use it, and I say I have read a lot about quantum physics and quantum healing, and it is very helpful just because of the idea that nothing is solid, nothing is fixed. No, it is not what you think it is. It's like, it's not what you think it is. It is not fixed at all, and it can change by you having different ideas about it. So that is even being proven by science. And the other good thing is that this energy that is connecting us, that is literally making us one in our consciousness, is also connected to, once we meet, once we are aware of each other, like here in this class, we are aware of each other, like you are here with me, you look at this here with me, we have an entanglement going on. That means that whatever happens to you is happening to me in that sense. It is like there's a connection. So that means that if I'm like overwhelmed with gratitude, I give that to you. And when you are in so much, say, gratitude, you give that to me, and we give that to one another. So we're actually helping each other to lift one another. And seeing that that's our natural state. Like I said in the beginning, we do this to become aware of that is our reality, and that's the truth of us in the process too. It's like coming from your separate human identity, going to your awakening, becoming awake in this dream, being aware that you are aware of this dream, and seeing that that by little steps that we make, by certain things that are occurring, by the shifts that are occurring in our awareness, we actually help each other to speed up this process of awakening. Because it's a shared experience, like it is your individual experience, but there's only one of us in our consciousness. There's only one of us waking up, and that is you. So that is always like a bit confusing, but that's only based on the idea that there should be many of us, or that there's such thing as a separate identity, and there isn't. See this? So this is nice. So you come into a different experience of yourself. You feel that the boundaries that you, told yourself that are defining you are actually not as rigid and as fixed as they look. So that means also that when you sit back and relax into this idea and feel the connectedness, that you see that those boundaries are completely gone. And that is good for a lot of things. Like you let go of your idea about yourself. You come into a greater experience of yourself. You come into an expanded awareness of yourself, and that has nothing to do with anything that you thought before. So that is giving you a different experience of yourself. See, like I said, these things that we do on the path is to confirm that for ourselves. Like, why would I say thank you to God if I'm completely one with God? But to say that, to say thank you, is really important in my process of awakening, because I need to hear it. My body needs to hear it. My ideas about myself need to hear it. That's why I express this. And that's helpful. So just use that. So, okay, we said already a lot of things. Like I said already a lot of things. I try to do one more chapter, one more paragraph. And this is also in the line of fantasy and distorted perception. So this is B2. As long as you would have this be... Okay, so I'll read the last sentence first. Unless you give it back, it is inevitable that your perspective on reality is warped and uncorrected. As long as you would have this be, so long will the illusions of order of difficulty and miracles remain with you. For you have established this order in reality by giving some of it to one teacher and some to another. And so you learn to deal with part of truth in one way, and in another way the other part. To fragment truth is to destroy it by rendering it meaningless. Orders of difficulty is a perspective without understanding. A frame of reference for reality is to which it cannot really be frame of reference. I'll do this again. Orders of reality is a perspective without understanding. A frame of reference for reality to which it cannot really be compared at all. Think you that you can bring truth to fantasy and learn what truth means from the perspective of illusions? Truth has no meaning in illusion. The frame of reference for its meaning must be itself. That's a great sentence. So the frame of reference for its meaning must be itself. Truth has no meaning in illusion. When you try to bring truth to illusion, you are trying to make them real and keep them by justifying your belief in them. That's a nice trap. So you recognize that you did that, Yeah. Do you recognize that? Yeah. So you cannot bring truth to illusions. No, you have to bring illusions to truth. Like you have to give your illusions and hand them over to your Holy Spirit and say like, okay, take this from me because here it is. I don't know what to do with it. It's just a limited idea of myself and I don't want it any longer. See, and the thing that you do here is this in the second part of the sentence. When you try to bring truth to illusions, you are trying to make them real, the illusions real, and keep them by justifying your belief in them. So this is a very common, very common phenomena. And when you think that healing does not work, or when you think that nothing is changing, or when you think that, well, what am I doing this for? It really doesn't seem to work. So it's like, then you can be sure that you did this. And you have to stop right there, because it is literally like dislodge yourself, just disconnect for a moment from the ideas that you hold about yourself to come into a place where you can experience something new, you know. So that is really say the thing to do. Otherwise you cannot talk yourself out of your illusions. You can forget it because you brought yourself in it. All right, I gotta stop now. I promise to have some time for questions and answers too. So I love to do that too. So thank you for being here in this class. Thank you for paying attention, for being open to receive this, what I'm sharing with you. And all right,